I want to tell you about a system, a beautiful system, a system so elegant, so well designed, that the people living inside it genuinely believe they're free. Here's how it works. Every few years, you get to choose between two people you've never met, two people who went to schools you couldn't afford, two people who've never had a job that involved actual work, two people selected by a process you weren't part of, funded by money you'll never see, and approved by institutions you didn't know existed. And you get to pick which one. That's the freedom, that's the democracy, two doors, same building, both locked. You get to choose the colour of the door, and then you're supposed to feel grateful. At least we get to vote. Yeah, at least the zoo animals get to choose which corner of the cage they sleep in.
But hold on, if we don't like the whole thing, can't we just change it?
Change what?
The system, the whole thing. If it's not working, can't we just get rid of it and do something else?
Well, no.
What do you mean, no?
I mean, no, you can't. There is no mechanism, no legal process, no form, no vote, no petition, no constitutional pathway for the public to say, we no longer consent to this structure, we are replacing it. That option doesn't exist.
But it's a democracy.
Is it? Let me ask you something. In a democracy, who holds the power?
The people.
Right, the people. That's the theory. So if the people hold the power and the people decide the system isn't working, the people should be able to change the system. Yes? But they can't. The people can change the management, they can rotate the staff, they can swap one approved candidate for another approved candidate. But the structure itself, the thing that decides what the rules are, who makes them, how power is distributed, that's untouchable. That's off the menu. That's not up for discussion. Now here's my question. If you live in a system that you cannot leave, cannot change, and cannot remove, what do you call that? Because I looked it up and there's a word for it, but we'll get to that. Let's talk about how they did it, because this didn't happen by accident. This was engineered carefully over centuries. These were smart people. They knew what they were doing. The first thing you need to understand is that the British Constitution, the rules that govern how the country works, isn't written down. It's not a document. It's not a piece of paper you can read. It's a collection of laws, conventions, precedents, traditions, and, I'm not making this up, what we've always done.
So how do you know what the rules are?
You ask someone who went to Oxford. I'm barely joking. The British Constitution is whatever the people in power say it is. It's interpreted by judges appointed by the government. It's enforced by institutions created by Parliament. It's explained by academics funded by the state. The rules are guarded by the people. The rules benefit. That's the first trick. The second trick is even better. Parliament is sovereign. That means Parliament, not the people, Parliament, has absolute legal authority. Parliament can make or unmake any law. Nobody can override Parliament. No court can strike down what Parliament decides.
But we elect Parliament.
Do we? You elect your MP, one person out of 650, and your MP doesn't represent you. Your MP represents a party, and if your MP votes against the party, your MP gets expelled, so you elect someone who is legally obligated to ignore you. And those 650 people, most of whom you didn't vote for, representing parties you might oppose, they have absolute power. They can change any law, including the laws about how they get elected, including the laws about how long they stay in power, including the laws about whether elections happen at all. But they wouldn't do that. Of course they wouldn't. That would be obvious. They don't need to cancel elections. They just need to make elections meaningless, and they have. Here's the beautiful part. There is no law, none. That allows the British public to dissolve Parliament. There is no referendum option for replace the system. There is no constitutional convention the public can call. There is no mechanism whatsoever for the people to remove the structure. The only body that can dissolve Parliament is Parliament itself. Think about that. The only way to remove the system is if the system decides to remove itself. That's like saying the only way to fire your boss is if your boss fires himself. That's like saying the only way to escape prison is if the prison warden opens the door and says, "Off you go then. Sorry about all that." It's insane. It's obviously never going to happen. And that's the design.
What about America? They've got a constitution.
They do, written down and everything. Very fancy. And you know what's in it? Article 5, the amendment process. To change the US Constitution, you need 2/3 of both houses of Congress to propose an amendment, then 3/4 of state legislatures to ratify it. 2/3 of Congress, 3/4 of states, in a country that can't agree on whether healthcare should exist. The Constitution has been amended 27 times in 235 years. The last time it was amended was 1992, and that one was originally proposed in 1789. It took 203 years. So yes, America has a mechanism for changing the rules, and that mechanism requires the people who benefit from the rules to agree to change them, which they won't, because why would they? But the founding fathers were slave owners who didn't let women vote and designed a system to protect property rights above all else. They weren't designing freedom, they were designing control, they were just better at marketing. So if there's no legal way out, how do government structures actually get removed? Let's look at history, not the history they teach you, kings and queens and battles and dates. The history that matters. When did people actually tear down the structure and replace it with something else? The French Revolution in 1789, the granddaddy, the one everyone thinks about. Here's what happened. France was broke. The monarchy had spent everything on wars and palaces. The harvest failed. Bread prices exploded. People were starving. The people didn't file a petition. They didn't wait for the next election. They stormed the Bastille. They dragged the king back to Paris. They abolished the monarchy. They executed Louis XVI in front of a crowd. The entire structure of government was torn down.
Did it work?
Define work. The monarchy was gone. That worked. What replaced it was the Reign of Terror, Robespierre, the guillotine running daily, between 17,000 and 40,000 people executed in about a year, then a coup, then another government, then Napoleon, then empire, then more wars, then the monarchy came back, then another revolution, then another republic, then another emperor. It took France nearly a century to stabilize. But here's what matters. The system was removed, not reformed, removed. And it didn't happen through legal channels. It happened because the system stopped functioning, people were desperate, and the cost of doing nothing became higher than the cost of burning it down. That's the pattern. The Russian Revolution, 1917, the Tsar had ruled for 300 years. Absolute power, divine right, the whole thing. Then, World War I. Millions dead, economy collapsed, food shortages. The army started refusing orders, the people rose up, the Tsar abdicated, the provisional government took over, then the Bolsheviks took over from them. The entire structure, not just the ruler, the structure was demolished and replaced.
And that went well?
Are you kidding me? Stalin, gulags, millions dead, 70 years of authoritarian rule, then collapse? No, it did not go well, but again, the structure was removed, that's the point. You asked if it can be done. It can. The question is what it costs. Let's do some more recent ones. Romania in 1989. Nicolae Ceausescu had ruled for 24 years. Communist dictatorship, secret police everywhere, personality cult, the works. December 1989, a protest in Timișoara over the eviction of a pastor. The protest spread. Security forces opened fire. That made it worse. By December the 21st, Ceausescu called a mass rally in Bucharest to demonstrate public support, live on television. And something happened that had never happened before. The crowd booed him, live on television. The dictator standing there and the crowd booing. You can watch the footage, you can see his face. He had no idea what was happening. Within 4 days, he was arrested. He and his wife were executed by firing squad on Christmas Day. The system collapsed in a week. Because the crowd booed, because the illusion broke, the whole thing runs on the idea that the people accept it. That consent exists. that the structure is legitimate when that illusion breaks, publicly, undeniably, in a way everyone can see. The system has nothing left, it's just people in buildings giving orders that no one follows. East Germany in 1989, the Berlin Wall didn't fall because of a vote. It fell because thousands of people showed up and started crossing. The guards didn't know what to do. The orders from above were confused. And suddenly everyone realized they can't stop us all. The system collapsed because people stopped believing in it at the same moment. Iran in 1979, the Shah was one of the most powerful rulers in the Middle East. American-backed, secret police, torture, total control. Protests began, strikes, demonstrations. The oil workers walked out, the military started refusing orders. The Shah fled in January 1979. The system was gone. What replaced it was the Islamic Republic, arguably more authoritarian than what came before. The people removed the government. They did not gain control of what came next. That's the other pattern. When systems collapse, something fills the vacuum, and usually the people who fill it are the ones who were organized, funded, and ready, not ordinary people, the people who were already planning. Sri Lanka in 2022, the economy collapsed completely. Foreign reserves ran out, fuel imports stopped, people couldn't buy petrol, hospitals ran out of supplies, the power grid failed. The public didn't organise around ideology, they organised around survival. They marched on the presidential palace, they occupied it, the president fled the country, the government resigned.
The system was removed?
No, the president was removed, the cabinet was removed, the system, the structure, the constitution, the institutions remained. New people were appointed through the existing process, order was restored. The IMF provided a bailout with conditions, the crisis was absorbed, the structure survived. That's the modern playbook. Let the pressure release, sacrifice some individuals, change the faces, keep the structure. It's like a lizard dropping its tail. Look, we got rid of the bad guy, everything's fine now. Meanwhile, the same system continues, the same rules, the same barriers, the same impossibility of real change. All right, let's do something fun. Let's look up the word dictatorship. According to Britannica, dictatorship, form of government in which one person or a small group possesses absolute power without effective constitutional limitations.
That's not us though, is it?
Let's break it down. One person or a small group possesses absolute power. In the UK, Parliament is sovereign. Parliament has absolute legal authority. No court can override it. Parliament is 650 people, but real power is held by the cabinet, about 20 people. And real power is held by the Prime Minister and maybe 5 or 6 key allies. So, a small group with absolute power. Check. Without effective constitutional limitations. The UK Constitution is unwritten. It can be changed by Parliament at any time. There is no Supreme Court that can strike down laws as unconstitutional. The Supreme Court can only interpret, not override. There is no constitutional limitation that Parliament cannot simply vote away. So, without effective constitutional limitations, check. But here's the key part. In a functioning democracy, the people can remove the government, not just the individuals, the government. In a dictatorship, they can't. In the UK, can you remove your MP? Not until the next election. Can you remove the Prime Minister? No, the Prime Minister is not directly elected and cannot be directly removed by the public. Can you remove the Cabinet? No. Can you dissolve Parliament? No. Can you call a referendum on the system itself? No. Can you propose a constitutional amendment? No. Can you, through any legal mechanism, remove the structure of government and replace it with something else? No. So a small group with absolute power, no effective constitutional limitations, and no legal mechanism for the public to remove them. What's that called again?
The United Kingdom is one of the world's oldest and most stable democracies.
Stable? Yes, very stable. A system that cannot be removed is, by definition, stable. A prison is also stable. Stability isn't the same as freedom. Here's what I find funny when we talk about other countries. Countries we don't like, we have no problem calling them what they are. North Korea, dictatorship. China, one-party state, authoritarian, Russia, managed democracy, strongman rule. We see it instantly when it's somewhere else. But when it's here, when it's wrapped in tradition and fancy buildings and ceremonies and the language of freedom, suddenly we can't see it, suddenly it's democracy, suddenly it's the best system we've got. Suddenly, asking questions makes you a radical. If you oppose the government in any way, you are labelled as a terrorist and therefore susceptible to all the measures that should be used on people who plan to create massive atrocities. Since the new laws allowing imprisonment without a hearing, they provide a free and permanent all-inclusive holiday. They even include a nice orange jumpsuit as part of the deal. The only catch is you can never leave. The trick isn't that the cage is invisible. The trick is that they've convinced you it's a house. But we get to vote. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about who you're voting for. In the UK, to become Prime Minister, you typically need to go to a top private school, or maybe Oxford or Cambridge, work in politics, think tanks or something adjacent, get selected by your local party, get approved by the National Party, build relationships with donors, climb the internal hierarchy, never say anything that threatens the system, never propose anything that would reduce the power of the institutions you're climbing. By the time someone reaches the top, they've spent 20 or 30 years proving that they will not change anything fundamental. They've been trained, vetted, filtered. The system doesn't accidentally let in people who would dismantle it. That would be insane.
What about someone from outside politics? A normal person?
A normal person, let's see, to run as an independent in the UK, you need a £500 deposit per seat. You lose that if you get less than 5%. To actually campaign, you need money, staff, leaflets, an office, transport, £30,000 to £50,000 minimum for a serious run. To get media coverage, you need to already be famous or say something outrageous, which disqualifies you. To win, you need to beat a party machine with millions in funding, decades of infrastructure, and name recognition built over generations. As an independent, with no money, no machine, no coverage. In 2019, there were 86 independent candidates in the UK general election. None of them won a single seat. The system is designed to make outside entry impossible, not difficult, impossible. And even if somehow you got in, you'd be one person out of 650 with no party backing, no committee positions, no ability to propose legislation that would actually be heard. You'd be a mascot, a curiosity. Look, a normal person got in, isn't that charming? And then nothing would change. But here's what really gets me. The people who do make it through, the ones who become prime ministers and cabinet ministers and party leaders, they have no idea what normal life is like. None. Rishi Sunak is worth approximately £730 million. His wife is a billionaire. David Cameron's family wealth goes back generations. He's related to the royal family. Tony Blair went to private school, then Oxford. His father was a lawyer. Boris Johnson, Eton, then Oxford. His father was a European Parliament official. Keir Starmer is presented as normal. His dad was a toolmaker. But Starmer went to Oxford, became a barrister, earned millions before entering politics. These people have never worried about rent, never worried about heating bills, never had to choose between food and electricity, never been on a 0 hours contract, never experienced what most people experience every single day, and they're supposed to represent you. How? How can someone represent a life they've never lived? How can someone understand problems they've never had? It's like asking someone who's never seen water to design a boat. I'm sure it'll float. I read about floating once.
Our leaders come from diverse backgrounds and understand the challenges facing ordinary people.
Yeah, diverse. Eton or Harrow, Oxford or Cambridge, law or finance, very diverse. Here's the thing, when you're voting, you're not choosing between different visions. You're choosing between different salesmen for the same product. One says he'll help the working class, the other says he'll help families. Neither of them has ever been working class or struggled to raise a family on an average income. They don't know what they're talking about. They literally don't know. They've studied it, they've read briefing papers, they've done photo ops at factories, but they don't know. And a person who doesn't know cannot represent, they can only manage. You're not electing representatives, you're electing managers. Managers of a system designed by people like them for people like them. And you get to choose which manager. That's the freedom. So let's put this together. You live in a system where the structure cannot be legally removed by the public. The only body that can dissolve it is itself. The constitution can be changed at any time by the people in power. Candidates are filtered through parties, controlled by money and institutions. No normal person can afford to run. Everyone who reaches the top has proven they won't threaten the structure. Voting changes the management, not the system. And the management has no idea what your life is like. What do you call that? When I describe this to people, they usually say, well, what's the alternative? And I find that question fascinating because it assumes this is the only option. It assumes that because we can't immediately imagine something better, this must be acceptable. Sure, the cage has bars, but at least it's a nice cage. I'm not here to tell you what the alternative is. I'm not a revolutionary, I'm not a politician, I'm not selling anything. I'm just pointing out what's in front of your face. The system you live in was not designed to be removed. It was designed to look like it could be removed while making removal impossible. And it works, because most people never ask the question.
So we're stuck?
I didn't say that. History shows that systems do fall. They fall when they stop delivering, when legitimacy collapses, when enough people stop believing at the same time. They don't fall through voting, they don't fall through petitions. They fall when the gap between what the system promises and what it delivers becomes too obvious to ignore. The French Revolution happened because people were starving and the monarchy was having cake. The Russian Revolution happened because millions were dying in a pointless war and the Tsar was ignoring it. The Romanian regime fell because the illusion broke on live television. What happens when the illusion breaks here? I don't know, but I know the illusion is getting thinner. More people are asking questions. More people are noticing that voting doesn't change anything. More people are realizing that the choice isn't really a choice. The system relies on you not asking these questions. It relies on you believing the bedtime story. It relies on you feeling like you have power so you don't notice that you don't. The moment you see it, really see it. You can't unsee it. And a population that can't unsee the cage is a population that starts looking for the door. I can't tell you where the door is, but I can tell you this. The first step to finding a door is realizing you're in a room. Here's where I'm supposed to tell you what to do. Subscribe, like, share, join the revolution. I'm not going to do that. I don't have answers. And if I did, I would likely be put in prison. What I will say is this, the system is not your friend. It doesn't represent you, it manages you, it doesn't serve you, it extracts from you, and it has made itself impossible to remove through any legal means. That's not a conspiracy theory, that's a design specification. You can do what you want with that information, you can ignore it and go back to choosing between two pre-approved managers. You can get angry about it, you can organise around it, you can wait for it to collapse on its own. I don't know what the right move is, but I know this. They need you to believe you're free. That belief is the only thing holding it together. Once enough people stop believing, well, that's when things get interesting. Thanks for watching. If you would like to stay informed, you can subscribe if you wish, and remember, stay uncomfortable.